So we're going to be going to maybe Louisiana, and you have New Orleans, which has a crime problem. We'll straighten that out in about 2 weeks. It'll take us 2 weeks, easier than D.C., but we could straighten out Chicago.
President Donald Trump is floating the idea of expanding the number of cities where he wants to send National Guard troops. The president suggested deploying troops in New Orleans, Chicago, Baltimore, Boston, and New York. The Guard is already on the ground in Washington, D.C., and this summer, you might remember, he sent troops to Los Angeles in a move a federal judge ruled illegal. Now, there is fear the president could add Milwaukee to the list.
When TJ Dysart spoke to people in some of the city's highest crime areas, Derek Rose is live with the constitutional question. Let's start with Derek first.
And Deanna, those questions about the president's move and his authority when it comes to National Guard troops. For each state, the governor is the commander-in-chief of that state's National Guard. Now, the president can federalize troops as he did in D.C., but it gets complicated when it comes to actual states.
So under the law, there can only be a legal use of the National Guard under federal control in a few very specific circumstances. If there's an insurrection or rebellion, or if basically the rule of law is completely broken down. And clearly none of those situations are met here.
That's David Janowski, acting director of the Constitution Project at the Project on Government Oversight, which is an independent watchdog group. With presidential authority and National Guard movement, I asked him one blunt question. In your opinion, is the president's action to send troops to Washington, D.C., potentially send them to Chicago, potentially send them to New Orleans, even a discussion about whether to send them to Milwaukee, is that unconstitutional?
Any of those other cities, I think, would raise extremely serious constitutional concerns. D.C. is in a slightly different position because it's not a state. But even so, I think there's a serious question about whether the National Guard was justified there.
And Javonsky says we should keep an eye on that federal ruling out of California where the judge, as Blake mentioned, said the president's deployment of National Guard troops targeting protests of immigration enforcement that was ruled illegal. He says that ruling reaffirms the fact courts will have a say in this issue, Deanna.
All right, something that we're watching closely, and it's really all over the country.
Yeah. All right, Derek Rose, thanks so much for that. We turn now